we stand in front of Dollar Tree, and basically,
such as this thing here.
All right, I'm excited to have a guest.
Metal right here, of course, everyone is.
Cuba is like they're under a dictator.
RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 YouTube talk show. Excited to be back for a late night edition of the People's Talk Show. Looking forward to connecting. And I couldn't let this day pass without sharing my thoughts and some possible scenarios as to what's happening with the announcement of the gold coin being issued by the Zimbabwean Central Bank. Something doesn't seem right to me, so I thought I would just share my opinion and get your guys' thoughts on it, and also check in and see what else is out there you guys been keeping an eye on. And also curious to get your thoughts on the RTD Q&A earlier today with Dave and John. That was definitely a good time to hang out and just bounce ideas off each other or whatnot. But curious to get your guys' thoughts on that. And about 4 or 5 different articles to try to, share my more skeptical viewpoint on the announcement of a gold coin being issued in Zimbabwe, just because, something don't seem right. And I'm going to share my 2 cents as to why that is. And I've been covering Zimbabwe for quite some time now. And actually, it's probably one of the primary reasons I got into rethinking the dollar, just from having done some research on the Zimbabwean currency and had a chance to connect with a few people, and one of the most important interviews that impacted me the most happened to be with a guy who unfortunately passed away at the beginning of this year. So definitely wanted to acknowledge him, and just great guy, and things of that nature. So we're gonna keep moving. But anyway, before I move forward, welcome to the community. Any first-time viewers, let me know where you're watching from in the chat, and then when the phone lines open up, we'll love to hear your thoughts on anything we touch on here or whatever else is out there worth touching on. So feel free to let me know via chat, and then we'll jump right in. Jojo checking in. Persistence over resistance says 50 trillion Zimbabwe note, possibly greatest hedge ever. I don't think it's going to be that simple. But and it's my personal opinion that the Zimbabwean government is not even behind this. And I'll share more of my 2 cents as to why I think that is and who's really behind it. Just because nothing is coincidental, nothing's by accident. You don't all of a sudden experience extreme inflation, for almost 20 years now. And all of a sudden now just have your, you come to Jesus moment like, oh, we need to back our currency with gold. No, I don't think it's that easy. So there's more to that story we're being told. Anyway, so we got Gail, appreciate you. We got S400, Mass Administrator, Jason, Rusty, Zimbabwe needs some democracy. It's a lot going on in Zimbabwe than we know about for sure. But the political structure has nothing to do with the democracy at this current moment. They've already been hijacked, taken over. All right. So let's keep it moving. So let me before I move forward, let me just make sure I do some maintenance on my side. If you have not already, hit the thumbs up button, show your support for the channel. Every little bit of support helps, even though algorithms are, they do what they do. But hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification if you want to get notified. And I want to make sure I encourage you guys to connect on the alternative platforms. The link is below. And most importantly, start next week, I'm doing live streams on the alternative channel. And so I want to make sure you guys are aware of that. So sign up at the rtd.locals.com where we can connect there. Just trying to get ahead of the information purge, which is definitely coming in the near future. So make sure everybody who wants to stay tuned in, make sure you register over there so you'll always be notified. And hopefully trying to be a better situation. But anyway, keep it moving. So let me just start off by just laying a little foundation for myself as to how I actually got to this point. So here on the screen, these are just some of my past Zimbabwe videos that I've done throughout the years. And I've been talking about Zimbabwe for quite some time now. And one of the most impactful interviews I did was several years ago with this gentleman right here. This was 5 years ago. And this interview here was, it was a great discussion. And to hear his life story, like this guy here is an economist, and he basically he's more so like a self-taught economist. Then he went to school, I think, later on in life. But he was at this time almost in his 80s. He lost his retirement, lost his pension. Say everything was gone, wiped out in the Zimbabwe crises that took place a decade plus. And so he was out here on the streets to just starting over again in his latter years. And it was a great conversation. And he was just, a nice guy. He was very influential in Zimbabwe as being outspoken against Mugabe over the last, 10, 15 years prior to him stepping down and then passing away. But this guy here, man, is a true patriot, true, Zimbabwean who loved his country. And, it bothered me when I heard that he passed this past year. And so leading Zimbabwean economist John Robertson dies in January of this year. And I just reached out to him, a couple months before that. We, had a little back and forth and just trying to check in with him, see how he was doing. And so it, definitely, it's troubling to hear that he passed, but he lived a long life, man. He was 85 and, he fought for his country. So a part of me wanting to talk about this tonight was I know that, he would have had the real scoop as to what was happening in the country. And so if this gold coin or gold reissuance for, as it says, investors, it didn't say citizens, it said investors, then I'm sure he would be happy because I'm sure he would have loved to take advantage of that opportunity to be able to get gold coins issued from the central bank. So shout out to his family and things of that nature. But great guy, man, great guy. So, but anyway, to the story at hand. When I saw this yesterday, I knew I was going to talk about it. It's just a matter of trying to just, put my thoughts together around this because, something doesn't smell right. Because Zimbabwe has been in a crisis for over 20 years. The newer president has been in office, I think, 3 or 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. And to my knowledge, from what I've been able to gather through just keep my ears to the ground over the last couple years, is that he's better than the prior, but nothing's really changed. But yet, one thing that has changed under this new administration, a newer administration, President Mnangagwa, is that he's made, and this is just my opinion, never been to Zimbabwe. One of the community members used to keep me up to date on activity happening in Zimbabwe, but it was very authoritarian, to say the least. And there has been, of course, they are using the dollar as a currency. They're using the Chinese yuan as a currency and the euro. So they use a little bit of everything, but they came out with their bond notes about 5 years ago when those things they just couldn't control it. And inflation kicked in and just, depreciated those things as well. So they've been failing ever since their government structure was taken over 30 plus years ago. But anyway, so to hear this and see mint gold to curb inflation, something doesn't sound right. So to just get ahead of myself, China's influence in Zimbabwe is extremely heavy. And so my suspicion would be, and we'll find out in the future, is my suspicion that the Chinese Communist Party is somehow, some way involved with this announcement that is not necessarily designed to, all in all, really benefit the Zimbabwean people, but more so just to put that first bug out there. The gold window has been reopened, or it's being mentioned that they're reopening the gold window inside Zimbabwe, which is a very small, minute, extremely unimportant country to the greater scheme of things, as a test to the West to see how they respond. Because if this is a President Xi or encouraged announcement, then Zimbabwe is going to be the first country that talks about using gold as a hedge against inflation. And so, once again, another thing that will make me question why now is that not only do we have all the stuff happening out east, Russia's talking gold. Any minute now, we're expecting China to do something with gold. And so we have a real small country that has been experiencing inflation, hyperinflation over the last couple decades, and all of a sudden they're talking gold now. And that's why I know that this is just not an organic story, that the current president is really trying to help his people. And so let's just read through this real quick, and I'll give you more as to why I believe that is the case. But it says investors. Who are these investors is the question. Excited by Zimbabwe plan to mint gold to curb inflation. So you got to ask yourself, it says investors. It didn't say citizens, it said investors. Majority of Zimbabwean people, to my knowledge, are not financially well off to be labeled as investors. So that automatically shrinks the amount of people who probably can participate down to some people who may not even actually be Zimbabwean in nature. But anyway, we'll get to this. It says Zimbabwe is set to introduce gold coins that will enable investors to store value within the country as inflation spirals out of control, and the local currency continues to rapidly devalue against major currencies. It says the move comes after inflation for June jumped to 191.6% from 132 in May. So could you imagine? We can't even fathom numbers like that. 191% inflation. That is right. So your average person in Zimbabwe, they've already been counted out as far as being considered investors, because they are, a majority of them, in my opinion, don't have much. And we've seen more enough stories as to how people have been panning for gold just to trade gold nuggets and things like that. So yeah, there's more to the story. But anyway, real quick, it says in a statement on Monday, oops, let me make sure everything is on. Let me know if my mic is working fine. A couple stories here that I'll jump to it, but just want to share my 2 cents. It says in a statement on Monday, the Southern Africa country's central bank chief. So the central bank chief, that's the equivalent of possibly Jerome Powell coming out and announcing inflation's gotten out of control. We need to reintroduce gold. We need to go back to the gold standard. Because mind you, Zimbabwe was on a gold standard back when it was Rhodesia many decades ago. It says John Manguda, forgive me, announced the new gold coins would be available through normal banking institutions. Okay, so once again, take that with a grain of salt. New gold coins. So I'm assuming there's going to be different denominations. So we'll probably have, a fractional gold system down to the, I'm not quite sure how they're going to break this up, because as of right now, gold, even as a gram of gold. So this could play into that. If this is for the retail investor, your average Joe in Zimbabwe, they're going to have to do it down to the gram size just to be able to put it in people's hands. So a small gram coin would still cost your average person $60, $70, $80, give or take. And so that automatically cancels a lot of people, because the average, wage in Zimbabwe is, a couple of dollars a day. And so you'll have to go up according to the weight all the way up for coins. So this right here is not going to be for everybody. But it says here, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe's Monetary Policy Committee resolved to introduce gold coins into the market as instruments that will enable investors to store value. And storing value is extremely important when you got 91% inflation, no doubt. But then at this point of the game, because they're already so late, it's been several years, borderline decades of extreme inflation. So if anybody had any wealth, it is already eroded if it was left in the currencies within that country. So more than likely, that heavy wigs, this is for the big players. This is for the big money financial investors that might have investments there, and they're trying to protect themselves. This is not about your average Joe on the street. And it says here they got already the Fidelity Gold refineries will be Fidelity Gold. Wow. Okay. Let me try to, forgive me. I'm not sure why this is doing this. It says Fidelity Gold Refineries Limited is the sole gold buying entity and refining entity in the country, and is owned by the central bank. So they got their own private refinery minting coins, assuming it's coming from Zimbabwe. And so it's for investors. It says the central bank's Monetary Policy Committee expressed, quote, great concerns on the recent rise in inflation, which increased by 30% on the month-to-month basis. Okay. So here we have the announcement of gold coins. It's predicated towards investors. Investors mean a small few. That's similar to the story we're having here in the separation from accredited investors and your average investor. Accredited means you got to have a certain threshold. Of course, we witnessed that with the whole cryptocurrency situation, which automatically cuts out more than 80, 90% of your retail investor. So you're automatically not included in that. So I would imagine it's the same thing here in Zimbabwe. But the whole reason I want to bring this up was because this just sounds funny on the surface. But then when you dive even deeper into it, as I mentioned, they've been dealing with inflation forever. So why now? And so they raise the key interest rate to a record 200%. It says the measure brings the cumulative increase this year to 14,000 basis points, the most globally, like 14,000 basis points. And here we're talking about 3/4 of a point, and it's causing issues. So yeah, inflation is 191%, 91%, and they raise interest rates up to 200, and they're gonna roll out gold coins. So anyway, just interesting. But here is the current president here, and since he's been in power, he has not necessarily been operating, in my opinion, in the best interest of his people. And the reason I say that is because under his leadership, he basically has turned over the country of Zimbabwe to China. So China's influence within that country is extremely heavy. Therefore, no decision of this magnitude as far as announcing a gold coin would fly unless you get approval, or it's given, those instructions are given to you by your primary financiers, because China is investing heavily in Zimbabwe. So it's my suspicion, and of course I can't prove this, but just to be a skeptic and critique everything, it's no doubt that he is being used as the spokesman to introduce this gold coin under his administration, but the orders are coming from up top just to continue to pump that gold narrative out there. So Zimbabwe will be the first country of many, but all the countries that's going to use the word gold in their monetary structure, they're already on board or signed up under the Silk Road or the EAU with the BRICS and all that other stuff as well. So you're going to hear, so this could be the door opening country. It's an emerging market country, real small, nobody really, paying attention to it, introducing a currency that's labeled as gold for investors, which is only, a few people in Zimbabwe. And so just to show you how that's my suspicion, here we have China-Zimbabwe relations reach a new level. So this was just 4 years ago when he got in office, around the time he got in office. So when Mugabe, the previous administration, passed away, he came in, and look whose hands he's shaking. So since then, it's good to say that China's influence has grown substantially to where I don't really think he's calling the shots, is my point. So here's more information here talking about the partnerships and things like that. But it doesn't stop there, because there's more headlines where, take of it what you may, but Zimbabwe is naturally rich in with gold mines. So if China comes in, invests heavily, they buy up everything, they help build infrastructure out using the U.S. debt liabilities that they're trying to spend, they have claims to whatever comes out the ground. They probably got first dibs. So here it says, this was as of beginning of this year, it says Zimbabweans living near mines owned by China fear losing lands and homes. So this is, take of it what you may, it says 50 families in Zimbabwe village have been told by the Chinese mining company that they will have to leave their homes and land, raising fears amongst the people. So China came in, spent some bread, and now they got rights to the land. This is not it. Chinese interpreters facilitate Zimbabwe-China mutual understanding. And this was as of yesterday. And so one of the things I pulled out here says Zimbabwe is witnessing an influx of Chinese investments. So you mean to tell me all of a sudden now gold is being mentioned in the headlines coming from the central bank of Zimbabwe? At the same time, Chinese investments are pouring into that country, i.e. those investors I was talking about, those investors can actually, so we got, watch this, we got the gold mines being ran by Chinese companies, some of them, not all of them, some of them. You got Chinese investment coming in. So basically, as the Chinese companies mine, they pull it out the ground, they send it to the Fidelity refinery, which is owned by the central bank. They put the gold in the vaults, the coins of whatever size in the vaults. The Chinese investors are able then to come in with all that excess cash and just deplete the central bank reserves of gold in that little funnel. They dig it, they plant it, they buy it, and it's just that cycle. And so this gold, more than likely, this is China's way. So this is just my suspicion. This is China's way of being able to invest in the land, pull it out the ground, put it in the vaults, buy it, send it back home. So you see how this cycle is going? Spend dollars, buy the land, take it out, take it home. Wow. So, that's just my suspicion. That's why when I saw this, Zimbabwe gold coin, I'm thinking like, oh, all of a sudden they care about their people. No, it's not that easy, people. Anyway, last story here, and then I'll open the phone lines. We can talk. But this is just what's going on, man. I got to take everything with a grain of salt, believe nothing. And hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I am wrong. Hopefully these gold coins actually meet the needs of the Zimbabwean people on the streets. But my suspicion is that when China owns a country, it's not likely. And the last one here says, this is from last summer, Zimbabwe under complete Chinese control. Is anyone noticing? So this is from the Economic Times. Take of it what you may. But we just saw how a heavy influx of Chinese investments is flooding the country at the same time they all of a sudden, made gold, available to investors, not citizens, investors. So anyway, that's my little 2 cents on that, man. I just wanted to put it out there because I think it's important to just take that with a grain of salt. And another thing was really that caught my attention is if Zimbabwe is going the gold route, makes me wonder why. But how come they didn't jump on a Bitcoin train? Or how come they haven't announced Bitcoin? So I don't know, but I would assume one of the 32 or so central banks that attended the meeting in El Salvador is definitely an emerging market, i.e. second, third world type of nation. So was Zimbabwe there as well? And could they be rolling out something Bitcoin-wise as well? Probably not, because gold and Bitcoin in this transition right now, they don't go hand in hand. And if I'm correct about China influencing the Zimbabwean central bank to go the gold route, they're not going to let the Bitcoin route come in as well, because the Bitcoin route is more affordable for the citizens, and they're not going to have that. So that's how I know this is an East versus West thing. And so we'll see, but just pay attention to the airwaves the next couple of days. We either hear about an event occurring in Zimbabwe with the central bank, because by this central bank offering gold, in my opinion, they're going against the Rothschild orders more than likely, or the Rothschilds are investors as well, and that's the way to get the Rothschilds to get gold out of there as well. So China and the Rothschilds could have an agreement. We'll pillage, we'll take over this country together, and we'll rape it and go that route. But anyway, that's just me just yapping. Okay, enough of that. Let's open the phone lines. Curious to hear what your thoughts are. I think. Let me know by show of hands or by thumbs up, thumbs down. As far as just my possible analysis, let me know via thumbs up, thumbs down. Does that sound plausible that China's running this and announcing this, or thumbs down if you think I'm too tinfoil hat, I'm too far gone left or whatever. Let me know. I'm curious. Douglas says China does not care about their own citizens. What makes you think they care about Africans? Oh, they don't. That's what I'm saying. They don't. I'm not sure if I'm buttoning on a conversation out there, but they don't care. I've actually seen video footage, and it's circulating on the internet, where a Chinese, Asian male who was owned a farm or owned some land as a mine or something in an African country, may not have been Zimbabwe, but literally his workers were African, or they were natives of that land, and he was beating them. Like they had the camera there, and this Asian guy had like a whip, and he was beating this guy on his back, and the whole thing was, it brought me back to the idea of slavery. And so it was apparently that the Asian guy ended up getting in trouble because the video went viral. That's why he got in trouble. But apparently it was common because other guys who work with them, other natives were working with them, they were standing there watching as if it happens often. And out of fear of losing their job, they couldn't do nothing. But apparently the guy was stealing from the Asian man and set an example. He whipping him. And I'm thinking wow, this is, I'm not saying that's how, Asian people or China gets down, but yet when you spend all that currency in that region to take over the land, it's inevitable that crime and corruption occurs at any level, from any race, any color, it doesn't matter, because money talks and everything else walks. And if the government welcomes that, they're not going to stop it because their pockets are getting fatter. So But that's when I saw that video, it really bothered me. And that was how I kind of, it's obvious that we're not just dealing with an issue here in the US. It's everywhere. It's been this way forever, but nobody really talks about it on average just because it's not knocking on your front door just yet. But yeah, anyway. So I'm missing calls. Forgive me. Let's get some calls in. 313-462-0027 or highlight at Rethinking a Dollar, and I'll try to jump on it and share my 2 cents and go from there. Thoughts, ideas. Okay, I see more thumbs up and thumbs down, so I'm not too far gone. But yeah, I look at every headline and like, what's the opposite of that? How can I counter that? Because I know we're being lied to all the way around. Here's a thought here. It says, President of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Felix, called for a review of mining contracts previously signed with China in 2008. The public. Wow, that's nice. That's good news there. Hopefully it goes through, but that's an uphill battle the president's going to be fighting, that's for sure. Hello, Carlos. Where are we calling from?
Hey, what's up, Mike? It's Rob from Cleveland.
Rob from Cleveland. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, I just wanted to, give a word of encouragement to my brothers and sisters in Christ. When Jesus rose from the dead in the Acts, the first thing his apostles said to him, they're like, this is the first conversation in the book of Acts. They're like, now are you going to restore the kingdom to Israel? And Jesus said, hey, it's not, don't worry about that. That's in the Father's hands. What you're going to do is you're going to go out and preach the gospel. So, when people, and another thing is like all the prophecy that the religious Jews of his time, the Sadducees, the Pharisees, the Herodians, they all had it wrong. They all had their own doctrine. And it said, when Jesus rose and he was walking with the disciples, he had to open their eyes to the scriptures and say, mustn't Christ have suffered these things? So he had to impart that an enlightenment onto them.
Right. So
when, people are focusing on eschatology and this is going to happen and that's going to happen, and I got time, when I see this happening and when I see that happening, then I can get one foot out of the world and both feet, following the Lord.
Right. So,
they had it wrong. The lawyers, the doctors, the high, they had it all wrong. So, with people focusing so much on end times prophecy, hey, Jesus said, you're going to go out and you're going to preach the gospel.
That's
and you're going to baptize.
That's a great commission, man.
That's where the focus. That's where I think our focus should be.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Be good.
Yep.
The Great Commission. Appreciate you, man, for sharing that. Let's keep it moving, man. What else is going on? So give me a call. So I apologize, but I'm not deliberately denying calls. I see Barlight Broker said he tried to call twice. And sometimes I get caught up in my rants and I don't look down, but I got you. Give me a call. Let's talk. S400 says, if he wins a lottery, I'll give you $1 million, but you can't be any precious metals. What would you do with it? What would I do with $1 million? I can't buy precious metals. Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, the first thing come to my mind is to go buy, acquire some acreage, some serious acreage is whatever I can for just the self-sustainability side of things, as far as being able to be way far away from city, but have 1 or 2 different compounds. I would literally build a compound of some kind as best I can with whatever funds I have left after buying our land, because the land is extremely expensive. But that's the first thing come to my mind. Hello, caller. Where we calling from?
This is Douglas Faithful from Columbus, Nebraska.
Douglas, how you doing, my friend? What's on your mind?
Not too bad. This is Mike, right?
Yes, it is, sir.
Yeah. Well, Mike, getting back to this Zimbabwean business, I have been reading for quite some time that it may be the goal of the communist Chinese government to generally recolonize Africa with Chinese citizens, to bleed off the population of China and take some of the pressure off of the society there and move maybe hundreds of millions of people, Chinese citizens, over to Africa. Have you heard anything about this?
I have, and it definitely makes sense, because I've seen several videos from like the infrastructure or the funds being spent throughout the entire continent. So Rwanda has heavy presence of Asian influence with they're building cities and schools and bridges and I mean they're basically redoing the entire continent of Africa, in loan format. And then if the presidents or the countries can't meet their debt obligations, they then claim ownership of those things. But then again, they bring their own people in to build it, manage it, oversee it, and train, mimicking colonization. So I believe that 100%.
Yeah, there is a reason they are doing this. They're not doing this for fun,
right? Oh, they're not
and they're not doing this, they're not doing this to help the Africans, because they don't. Like I said earlier today, they murdered tens of millions of their own citizens over the years. They doubt they care about the Africans at all. So I guess wait and see, huh?
Right. It's that's 100%, man. Appreciate you calling and sharing that. That's a whole other angle there, but I think you're definitely onto something with that, man. Appreciate you.
You bet.
Be good,
Mike.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good assessment there. So here is just typing in China will recolonize Ghana by 2050. So these are just some articles that are out there. When I typed in colonize, China colonize, China is colonizing Africa. So just a question is put out there, and people share their 2 cents on it. So definitely a lot of people are thinking that, feel that way. And I'm sure there's people writing up on it. Here's an article here from 2018, China and the Recolonization of Africa. So yeah, it's a lot of it's untapped resources, and you have on average a population that has been extremely oppressed just through to the fact of corruption in governments, and their own people, their own governments are selling them out for profit's sake. And it's offering a lot of the African colony or African nations a chance for education, a better way of life. They probably come in and offering them credit and stuff like that. And how would you say no to that? If you go from living in a village with wearing no shoes to being brought into a city, being able to get a job. And so it's like, yeah, but modern day colonization. China's stealing from Africa 100%. What else we got here? It says, what is this Zimbabwe thing true? Blunt news. So just talking about an article that surfaced yesterday that I was just trying to mention that it's not what it seems on the surface, because it's for investors. Investors usually are people who have wealth. Your average Zimbabwean may not have the funds to actually acquire anything, so it's not for them. But then China owns all the land and the mines predominantly, so they're funneling the funds out of the country more than likely. Hello, caller. Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, it's low blood pressure. Fishing in Corpus Christi, Texas. How's it going?
LB Pete, doing good, my man. What's up with you?
Hey, man, you talking about China giving credit. They need to come to Corpus Christi, give you some credit, man. They need to come over here, Mike.
If and when China actually is here, it's going to be on the same level as over there. Some subservient, like working for way less. The Americans' quality of life is not going to be what it is now at that time, because yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about the Chinese were whipping the Africans. Were the pointy hats? Were they white? Did they paint them white? Or what the hell were they doing?
It was a situation. They were outside, and let me see. I'll see if I can find it, but it was outside. It was a video clip. Somebody had a cell phone standing in the distance, and they showed just an older Asian guy whipping one of his workers who apparently stole from him, and he was teaching him a lesson. Apparently, he had all his coworkers around him, and the video went viral. And I guess the government ended up, putting a Asian guy in jail or something like that. But it probably happens often, because he obviously felt comfortable doing it. So it wasn't like it was his first time, I think.
Oh man, that's not good, Mike. That's not good.
Right. So it's not good, but I'm sure it happens a lot more than we'll ever know. So let me see. I found a video real quick. Let me see if this is it. But let me see. No, this is not it. Nope, not it. But anyway, so that's what it is, man. It was just a very disturbing video, extremely disturbing.
Wow, Mike, wow.
But I appreciate you calling, man. What up?
Yeah, what's your plans on the evacuation?
Evacuation as far as what? Evacuating where?
Where you got your plan B? Anything yet?
Oh no, man, it's by the time it's time to go somewhere, everybody mother gonna be gone. So you ain't going nowhere, man. You just buckle down, ride this thing out. You ain't going nowhere. Even though you
All
close to the border, you ain't going nowhere, LBP.
Nah, man, I got it good here, Mike. I'm fishing right now. Relax.
I bet. All right, man. Appreciate you calling, man. What's your thoughts of with Dave and John earlier, man? I'm trying to make it a light conversation, man.
Well, tell me again.
No, I was saying interview I did earlier with John Perez and David Morgan. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh,
did you get a chance to join us?
Mike, yeah. I left a little bit early. I didn't catch the ending, but man, it was good. It was good, Mike. I enjoyed it. You know that you're up there, Mike. You're up there with them now, Mike. I remember when you started and you were traveling and man, you.
Yeah, man.
I was Mike.
Appreciate it, man. Just trying to inform people. That's all I can do, man. Appreciate you, my man.
All right, Mike.
Be good.
All right, Mike. Thanks for taking my call. Bye.
Yep. Good stuff. All right, so yeah, that's this article here. Just when I typed in Chinese official, what does it say? Chinese official viciously attacks African staff in Sierra Leone. So this is Sierra Leone, and I don't think this is not the video. So this is a separate event. So just let you know that this stuff happens all the time, and because I'm assuming there's no the what you call it, the rules and law to protect workers is non-existent over there, because a lot of those people are probably working either under the table or illegally or whatever. So, but hopefully more light is shined on those events, man, so people can let their voice be heard and protest and stuff like that. What else we got out here? What else is happening in the markets? I didn't get a chance to check anything else. With any news? I see Michael Saylor bought another, 10 million worth of Bitcoin, and so he's going long all the way down. It seems. But I shared a tweet mentioning that just for my people. Because it's of course in the overall crypto space community, there's a lot of concern over whether we're at the bottom or not. And I'm like, man, like we haven't even started. Like, this is not crypto winter yet. It hasn't started yet, because we're just experiencing slight volatility in relation to the equities market. That's it. And so as the S&P 500 does its thing, we're going to see a lot more volatility. Oh, speaking of which, this is completely off topic, but this is like, okay, R. Kelly gets 30 years, but Glistine only get 20. So it's like, why? And so here's another thing, just out of curiosity, how come both these trials happen to drop like one day after the next? Like Maxwell was yesterday, she got 20. The next day, R. Kelly gets 30. Like, is this like a primary distraction or what? To talk about this? Or they're not even going to talk about it really, because it'll lead to more questions being asked to where they don't want that to happen. But come on now, court case one day after the other. That's very not coincidental. But real quick, I'll share this article here, or not article, but just some charts, some graphs here that I came across, just to show you where we're at in this whole little crypto cycle. So as of right now, as of this current last couple of week market activity, it's been the largest capital outflow event in Bitcoin's history. So as of right here, it goes all the way back to 2011 type volatility. And so people are running for the hills because a lot of people, there's been more newbies that bought in at the top. And as they see their assets dwindle, they panicking and they're like, I'm not taking no more losses. I'm getting out. So they're panic selling, which cause only more problems. And you got the mining companies selling. So it's like, yeah. And nothing wrong. Nothing's bad really happening right now overall. So here's another net profit loss. It says the current drawdown is recording realized losses equivalent to 98,000 Bitcoins per day. And so here we got this one. 2020 was a major drawdown and all the ones. So we got a long way to go before we get to 2011 time frame. But anyway, so my thing was Bitcoin is experiencing the largest capital flow, profit net loss, and the real crash haven't even happened yet. The crypto winter is still a couple weeks away. So we won't really see real tremors in the crypto space until August. Like, that's after the Federal Reserve attempts to try to remove some liquidity off of their balance sheet, which will definitely cause problems. So just, July is going to be a extremely volatile month, to say the least. Not only because of all the other world events happening, but all eyes are literally on the liquidity issues happening in this country here. Like people, investors especially, are tapped out. Profit is not what it used to be. Consumption is down, and all the other problems. So, yeah, it's nothing but a rocky road from here on out, man. So, right now, take advantage of any disposable cash you have to try to shore those things up and be ready for fire sales as they come about, because there will be a lot of things. A lot of people going to be looking to sell stuff pretty soon if they haven't already. So, great buying opportunity. So, it's a lot of opportunity out here, man. All right, it says Christine will be judged. Distraction. Kenneth Gibson, distraction 100%. 100%. Belly then says, get Perez on more often. I definitely will. It's good kicking it with John, man. He's a good guy. And like he's awesome. Like he don't mind putting out these calls, because he said September, October. He said China gonna invade Guam, and they're gonna announce a go yuan. I'm like, damn, John, that's what, a couple months away. So you willing to go out there like that? So he's it's an interesting guy, man. Cool guy. So yeah, I'm gonna try to have Dave and John on if they're interested in joining me, just to bounce ideas off each other and talk stuff through. But all right, people, we're at that 41-minute mark. Get ready to dial back, and want to just remind everybody, if you have not, make sure you click the link beneath this video here and become a member on the RTD Locals page. The goal is to be positioned on that page there when YouTube cancels majority of the financial / alternative media channels, because it will come either right before the crash or after the crash, because they need to control the narrative. So I hope everybody's here has already registered for the member site. And the best part about that is it allows me to be able to contact you directly through the actual through the link. So you will get notified when we go live, basically is what I'm saying. So anyway, and if anybody also want to give a little bit of a testimony type of thing and share your thoughts or ask a question, links down below. But I would love to get some questions out there that I can answer them on air. And if you've been blessed being a part of the community, feel free to give me a little quick 30-second, 40-second, whatever it is. Just, let me know how the channel and the community has been a blessing to you. And I would love to share that in the community. So the links for all this is beneath this video here. So I encourage you guys to plug in if you're interested. And yeah, anyway, that's all she wrote for tonight, people. Just wanted to share my thoughts on this whole gold coin situation. It's not what they making it seem, people. Anyway, I don't think they want to put gold in the hands of the people again, because that's going backwards. They want us to go towards this digital stuff. So that's how I knew something was wrong with that story. But anyway, be blessed, be safe, and I will see you guys tomorrow, Lord willing. Peace.